We're glad to have you back. The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced a significant increase in its net foreign exchange reserves as of the end of 2024, reflecting enhanced external liquidity, reduced short-term liabilities, and renewed investors' confidence. The bank said the NFER reached $23.11 billion at the highest in over 3 years, a notable rise from $3.99 billion in 2023, $8.19 billion in 2022, $14.59 billion in 2021. Gross external reserves also grew to $40.19 billion, up from $33.22 billion in 2023. This improvement, according to the Apex Bank, is as a result of strategic actions by the courting short-term FX liabilities, promoting policies that rebuild market confidence. CBN also said while seasonal adjustments impacted early 2025 figures, reserves are expected to keep growing, supported by better oil production and a more favorable export environment. Joining me from the United States of America is a renowned economist who is also the vice president of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Chijioke Ikechukwu. Dr. Ikechukwu, thank you so very much. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much, Tolu. It's my pleasure.
Well, I think it's a good news. I know you've been keeping track with figures from the central bank, not today, days and years before now. And I'm sure when you saw this report, you give a nod that something good is really cooking. What do you make of it? $23.1 billion is our Nigeria's net foreign exchange reserves. How does it come to you?
Yeah, Tolu, you remember that around this time last year, we heard about our net external reserves going as low as $3.99 billion. Many people were frightened because it was as if we were almost sinking. For a country like Nigeria to have net external reserves as low as 3.99. So let us even take last year as the base year and look at where we are today, 2024, we have increased to $23.11 billion. Now, this is very encouraging. It actually shows the commitment of CBN in this regard. It also shows that we are serious about what we say we're going to do. So, because the margin between 4 billion and 23.11 billion is a whole lot, so it also shows that we can grow more than where we are right now and do better than this. So this is just an encouraging outcome, and we do hope that it will continue to grow in this manner. You could see that there is a lot of work that has taken place. Worked in the areas of reforms in that CBN. A lot of reforms have actually taken place, and some kinds of discipline have taken place in CBN. These are some of the reasons why we are experiencing all this.
Can you hear me, Dr. Ikechukwu?
Yeah, I can hear you right now, but yes, now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I apologize there because I think there were, yes, I got some interference or something.
Yeah.
All right then. So like you've identified, I looked at the figure myself and saw where we were, looking at $3.99 billion and now we are at about $21.1 billion. Now, what are these moves or what are the initiatives you would say have been instituted by the Apex Bank to get us to where we are today?
Apart from the initiatives of the Apex Bank, we also have a lot of initiatives by the federal government regarding the oil sales and things like that. Of course, from the initiative of the Apex Bank, we have seen a lot of fiscal discipline that came into being, a lot of reforms that could ensure that our monies are accounted for. And of course, the streamlining of the exchange rate has played a major role in getting this done. That way, our oil price can be priced at a better rate, and we can be sure of where our rates are coming into. And of course, the oil sales have been taken over by CBN to the extent that inflows and revenues coming therefrom are going straight to the account of CBN. So we can actually account for what is coming in and not have any story told by anybody. So this is a very welcome development. On the side of government, of course, we have seen that the production capacity of the country has increased. We have increased production of oil, and the more we produce oil, the more revenue we'll have. And oil is priced well, reasonably well right now. So these are some of the actions that are taken. Of course, the oil theft has also reduced. These were things that were affecting our revenue base before now. So these are some of the gamuts of things that are responsible for this growth. But above all, I think offsetting the liabilities of the government through the CBN has been a major thing that has taken place, so that we know that our monies, $23.11 billion unencumbered, means that at least this is what is available for us to use. Unlike before, that we had only less than $4 billion available for Nigeria to use, and the rest heavily encumbered. So it's a good news, and we can do more, actually.
Talking about investors' confidence now, that comes to my mind. That's something that we've been talking about in recent times, how to drive investors' confidence to our capital markets, to our economy, to our oil and gas industry, to, improve production and all of that. Do you see this also as a level of, giving investors that level of confidence that is expected going forward, talking about investing in Nigeria at this very time?
What is very important to us and to investors is stability of policy. Once we can have constant and steady, reliable policy statements that will show that people who come into this country will continue to do business without distortions in policy, they will stay. They will do business in this place. Once there is assurances, once there are assurances that we can do business with these people, they will stay. An average investor is always looking at how stable an economy is, how stable the politics is, how stable the policy speeches are. So when we have those stable policies, they will come because they need this oil, they need the investments, they need to make money. Nigeria is a safe haven, actually, in terms of investment opportunities. You see people who just make revenues far and above what their projections have been. And this is just where you can achieve such. So when they know that Nigeria, with our population, with the size of our economy, is a place to come to, an economic haven also. So with all this, you see that it is very important for investors. All they do is just to watch the figures, the numbers coming out from our National Bureau of Statistics, figures coming out from CBN and other places, and then looking at how stable our policies have been, knowing that there can be somersaults just tomorrow. Once we're able to stabilize our policy, we are going to have more and more of them coming. But for now, a good place to invest in.
More interestingly, there's also increase in the external reserves. That's the gross external reserves too. That's also at $40.19 billion as of December 2024. That's enough backing, the CBN has enough war chest to stand against whatever imports that we need as a country. You want to say something around that too?
Yes, this is also encouraging because it's been a long time we had that kind of figure. But I can tell you, with all the plans that we have seen, plans of what the budget is going to be doing, plans of the government in both fiscal and monetary policy, we are going to be growing. And of course, that should be our target, to continue to grow instead of dropping, except there is any major thing we are funding, maybe any major import we are funding. Otherwise, our target should just be to continue to grow this figure from 40.19 billion, and it continues from there to rise. You see, the essence of this is that the more we have our increased external reserve, the more we are able to control our exchange rate, and the more our exchange rate will continue to come down, and gradually to the
All right, there. Of course, we lost connection with Dr. Ikechukwu. We'll definitely try to reconnect with him so that we can wrap up this conversation. Very interesting conversation here, looking at the implications of this for Nigeria's economy. Honestly, it is a good one, talking about these figures. Now, the key drivers of the reserves, according to the reports that we have here, is reduction in short-term FX liabilities. The bank significantly, that's the Apex Bank, reduced its exposure to short-term foreign exchange obligations, such as swaps and forwards, which previously posed risk to liquidity. This is a very, very important step from the Apex Bank. There's also increased FX inflows from non-oil sources, just like my first conversation, talking around the AFCFTA and how Nigeria has performed well with regards to export. Dr. Ikechukwu is back. Dr. Ikechukwu, are you there? Oh, okay. So like I was saying, a boost in foreign exchange inflows and non-oil sector also helped to strengthen the reserves position. And number 3, we have reforms to rebuild confidence. The CBN has implemented policies and measures aimed at restoring trust in the foreign exchange market, which has helped to attract sustainable and stable inflows. Well, these are key drivers of the reserves growth that we've seen that has put us to the place where we are. Dr. Ikechukwu, thank you so much for still staying with us.
Thank you.
Yes, we lost contact there. You were trying to make that point there. And I was also reading through some key drivers to this growth, talking about reduction in short-term FX liabilities, increased FX inflows from non-oil sources, reforms to rebuild confidence. You were saying something about the gross external reserves.
Oh, yes. The gross external reserves should actually continue to grow, because I said as far as we continue to grow, this is just a major driver for reduction of our exchange rates. Nigerians have actually wished that the exchange rate could come down. And so the more we have our external reserves growing, the more capabilities that we have to fund our imports, and that way our exchange rate will come down. So this is kudos to the country, kudos to CBN. We need to continue to grow all that. And of course, for us to continue to grow, we need to increase our crude oil output, as already projected by the government. We need to continue to increase that output, and if the exchange rate is good for us, we'll have a lot of revenue therefrom. Our export sales will have to be driven. We'll have to be deliberate about policy statements that will actually, policies that are supposed to drive export and continue to drive export. The export guy that spoke before now talked about efforts that we need to make in order for us to grow our export. So if we have to do everything to reduce the pressure on our foreign currency, we need to also reduce the importation of petroleum products, which we expect should have been coming down by now. So if we rev up our production of crude oil, remove theft, and make sure that all the loopholes are closed, we are going to be having enough revenue. Of course, these are things that are going to be growing our external reserves now that the liabilities are going down.
All right, we have just a little more time to go. You've talked about oil, so let's wrap up with that. We've seen a reshufflement. We've seen a shakeup in the NNPC, the board and the leadership. What are your expectations? The president has given a target, and he is focused on it. What do you make of that, considering the fact that we also need steady oil production for us to meet some of these targets, of course, our budget and all of it?
Yeah, I looked at the profile of the appointed people, the chairman, the MD, the new MD, and the other members of the board. I see that we have square pegs in square holes. These are people that are already very experienced in that industry, and they have been carefully chosen, from all I can see, to drive the objectives of the president and objectives of this country. We have to continue to drive the oil sector, since it's still our mainstay, the major revenue base of our country. Until we have other revenue, other areas of revenue base, we have to continue to drive the one that is our #1 revenue base. And so the best thing is just to have trusted people and people we believe can drive that particular revenue base. So it's within his purview to do so, and that has happened. We expect that all the milestones set will be achieved if he continues to monitor them. If he monitors them and continues to check their performance occasionally, then we will achieve all those.
Interesting conversation as always. But you know, when we talk about production, again, before I let you go, you know, the issue of vandalism and what's been happening. The president had to institute a state of emergency in Rivers to at least address some of those challenges we faced. So what do you also make about efforts to address vandalism and all of that?
It's a major area we need to pay attention to. You see, we shouldn't look at what is going on in Rivers State as just a mere political interest and things like that. It's not about Rivers State, it's about the nation.
Yeah.
So the whole country must be interested in what's going on in Rivers State because of the level of assets we have as a country in Rivers State. We have a lot of oil assets, and nothing should happen to those, because if you remember, that was what took us backwards some years back. And we don't want any kind of vandalism to affect us because we're already on a trajectory of growth. We don't want anything to distort it. So the presidency and the government of Nigeria should be interested in what's going on there in order to protect our interests there.
I must thank you so much, Dr. Chijioke Ikechukwu, there, renowned economist, Vice President, Abuja Chamber of Commerce. Take care, and I hope to see you in Nigeria soon.
Thank you very much.